Kyle Brandt, popular co-host, Good Morning Football, got a new show that debuts today, NFL Classics. It's Upon Further Review. You'll find it at 9 Eastern on Vice TV. Michael Irvin and Emmett Smith breaking down the Cowboys' 1995 NFC Championship game. You can also see Kyle on Good Morning Football. Good to see you again. How'd you come about deciding to do this?
Normally, Dan, I would say I collaborated with my friends and put something together. I didn't. They came to me and they said, here's an idea for a show. You want to do it? I felt like you hear these actors say, I finally got to stop auditioning. I just got an offer. This was my first offer, and it sounded perfect. I said, yes, I'll take it. And 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there with Irvin and Emmett watching the 95 title game. That's the origin story.
I did NBA's Greatest Games years and years ago at NBA TV. And we'd have Bill Walton come in, and he would sit there and watch a game with you. Isaiah Thomas came in. Yeah. And it's just fun because Isaiah started crying during, looking back on the game. Walton just couldn't stop talking. You get these guys that they look back, and all of a sudden they open up the scrapbook, and it's the emotion that hits them that you might not be ready for, because to you it was a game you're watching. To them, it was the game they were playing in.
And I think that's insightful. And what you get is when you're not just watching highlights. Like, I've seen Joe Montana talk about the catch 1,000 times, and he tells the story from start to finish. When you actually watch the game with the ebbs and flows and the bad plays, what ended up happening, Dan, that was so funny was I was watching the Titans-Rams Super Bowl, and the Titans are marching down the field, and it's Steve McNair, and I'm with Cedric the Entertainer from St. Louis and Kurt Warner. And they were both nervous that the Rams were going to lose. They were on the edge of their seat, and you start to watch it, even though you say, Kevin Dyson's going to score. I know it. They have too much momentum, and you can watch them start to sweat all over again. So it's funny and it's candid, but in multiple episodes, I saw actual fear from guys knowing full well they win, still thinking they would lose. It's awesome.
What's the one episode, though, that you got something that you didn't realize?
There's a lot of them. I would actually stick with this episode. This is the Titans, 99 Rams versus the Titans. This is the coolest thing about this, Dan, because we've looked at this game for a quarter century, and Mike Jones makes the tackle on the 1-yard line and the Rams win. But here's the what if. The question is, the Titans were down 7. If they score that touchdown, does Jeff Fisher go for 2 to win it right there? And Fisher's gone back and forth over the years. I would have, I wouldn't have. Eddie George is saying we would have got it. Everybody on the Rams defense is saying they would have got it. We were out of gas. We've been battling all game. We could have gotten, as fans, a win the Super Bowl 2-point conversion play, which we've never gotten before. And again, you talk to Kurt about that. He's helpless. He's standing on the sideline behind Dick Vermeil, who's ready to celebrate. The tackle at the 1-yard line could have given us the greatest finish ever in a 2-point conversion. We'll still never know if they would have gone for it.
I was fortunate when the Steelers played Arizona, and we thought Arizona was going to win the Super Bowl. Now, I'm handing out the trophy, so I'm on the sidelines, and I'm standing next to Steve Young. So Steve is doing analysis on Ben's final drive. So we're walking down the sidelines, and he's part quarterback but part fan. And he said, You don't understand. Like, this is incredible. He was so excited, and it's one of the greatest moments I've ever had in my career, because I'm watching with a Hall of Famer.
I know.
We're watching Ben lead this drive that's going to win a Super Bowl, and that's why you sign up for this, because we are fans and we want to enjoy. It's still our job to be a host or analytical, but that's where you go, golly, this is awesome. Awesome.
And that was years ago that you watched that game with Steve Young. And I can tell you remember it like it was yesterday. When you're talking to the athletes, and it's not over Zoom and it's not on the phone, it's when they're watching themselves work. So many different emotions come out. Like, for example, the Cowboys are really hot right now in media. I was sitting and I'm watching the 95 title game. This is Cowboys versus Packers. It's Aikman versus Favre. And I'm with Emmett and Irvin. It's the episode that we start the show with. We talked for over an hour. And I don't think they said the name Barry Switzer one time between the two of them. They said Jimmy Johnson, Dan, probably 30 times. My takeaway was Jimmy Johnson was the coach of that team. He
Yeah.
had been removed for years, and Barry Switzer, God bless him, these guys did not want to say the word. They avoided the word even when I asked about it. I think Jimmy was still the head coach, and the emotions came out for those two.
Talking to Kyle Brandt, NFL
Yeah.
Network. Good Morning Football, NFL Classics upon further review tonight at 9 Eastern on Vice TV. And Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith with the first episode. Fans can't get to you when you're hosting Good Morning Football. Like they can call into the show, or they can, they can text or tweet the show.
Yeah.
But I'm already catching strays because I was critical of the Browns and Saints. Just the odds of them making the playoffs or going to the Super Bowl. How do fans get to you to let you know they don't like what you said?
Oh, well, you're right, putting this one right in the wheelhouse. We just made playoff picks yesterday. Here's the ones that I like, Dan. I like the fan bases that you picked their team for the playoffs, but it's only a wild card and not a division. Are you kidding me? I'm getting screamed at by, of all people, I'm getting screamed at by Lions fans because they only won the wild card. Is there a more nouveau riche thing than that? Somebody driving a yellow Corvette because they won the lottery and they're already complaining that they're only a wild card. The Lions fans would have cut off a finger for a wild card 5 years ago, and they hate me on social media because I dare to give them not the division championship. It's nuts.
I'm going to make you program director for the NFL.
Let's do it.
You pick the Super Bowl.
Okay. If I'm program director for human beings and all of humanity, and in a time of AI, we need some of this, then that one's easy. Just give me Buffalo versus Detroit and someone can be happy. All right. You get those fans together. It's hugging, it's cats and dogs living together. Somebody wins. But if I'm going to be the NFL programmer and I'm going to try to do it the bottom line and I'm going to spike ratings, Dan, can I also pick the halftime performer?
Sure.
I have the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl again. Taylor's the halftime performer. And then in the NFC, we can't do Philadelphia. All right, it's Dallas. It's Dallas versus Kansas City. And the story of the year has been that Jerry Jones suckered us all, and Micah wasn't what Micah was cracked up to be, and he's back and he's against Taylor, and she's doing love story, and everybody's crying. It's Chiefs Cowboys in San Francisco, where the Cowboys have a lot of history. That's it.
I think there's a better chance that Taylor Swift does halftime than the Cowboys get there. Just saying.
I think you're right. I think actually at this point, I think the Super Bowl halftime show is beneath Taylor Swift. I think that she is way bigger than it. And I may say that as an NFL employee. I think she's bigger than it. And I think you're right. I think it's still more likely that she does it and goes a 3-hour set before the Cowboys do it. I said Lions fans. I'm trying to figure out, Dan, why are you hearing from Saints and Browns fans? What do they have to complain about?
They don't want to be told. You want to have false hope on September 3rd. You don't want to hear the voice saying, Vegas says you guys have the best odds for the number one pick in the draft. Or Vegas says that you guys have the longest odds to reach the Super Bowl. They don't want to hear it. They know it's true. They don't want to hear it. Now,
I think they should hear it. There's nothing wrong with that. At least after week one. If you lose week one, then they'll be calling the show being like, when are you going to start doing mock drafts? I can't believe that. Come on, Saints and Browns, let's go.
Are there more teams you think can reach the Super Bowl or more teams who can't make the playoffs?
I think there's a lot of teams that could reach the Super Bowl this year. You have the normal headliners that you think of course, this team, that team. And then you have these teams that aren't in the neon lights, like teams that are built for a Super Bowl, like Tampa Bay, for example, who have the coach, who have the quarterback. I don't mind the Rams again. I always look at the coaches. I don't mind the Chargers. The only thing people can say against the Chargers is they lost the lineman. It sucks. I know he got hurt. I just look at Jim Harbaugh and I look at the quarterback. We're in this week, Dan, where there's this sweepstakes Kentucky Derby type thing here in sports media where everyone gives their picks and everyone has to be right and everyone's trying to hack the system. I have a few simple guidelines that I go by. First and foremost, always, always, always pick the Steelers. In the bingo card, they're the free space. You get that one for free. The rest are up to you. I always pick the Rams because I believe Sean McVay is the best coach in the league. And then just look at coaches. Just pick veteran, proven coaches and the guys who have been there before, and it'll get you home. So I think there's a lot of teams that can make the Super Bowl this year because then you get those tasty ones like a few years ago, Joe Burrow and the Bengals in his second year. And then you're like, oh, look at all the second year quarterbacks. You got them across the board. One of those teams could make a run because I think for quarterbacks now, year two is new year five. So all those guys are in the fray too.
It's almost like March Madness, where you always pick Tom Izzo in Michigan State because it's Tom Izzo, or you pick John Calipari, Rick Pitino. You're picking the coaches. Jim Boeheim. You're picking
Yes.
the coaches who are always going to be there. You went to the Steelers camp.
Yeah.
How's morale?
Great. It's good. I mean, I say this pretty candidly. It was odd. I sat with Mike Tomlin as someone who spent the entire offseason saying that he should be replaced. And so I respected that he still sat down, but I've been the guy saying Mike Tomlin is at the point that Andy Reid was with the Eagles. There's nothing wrong with it. It's going to benefit both parties. The part he'll land somewhere else. And then you show up to camp, and I have to tell you, Dan, I've never sat with him before. It's every single thing you ever hope it was. There's gravitas, there's magnetism, there's insight. He looks at you, he shakes your hand hard, and everything he say, you just kind of nod, even though some of it's cliches. And then I say to him, all right, he's like, we got some veterans here. I got to teach an old dog new tricks. And I said, well, you have the oldest dog in the league. Your quarterback's 41. He laughs. Rodgers sits down. Fantastic. Positive vibe, super happy. Gets married in the offseason. I presented him with that question because there was a lot of, I don't know, internet rumors and intrigue that Aaron Rodgers, you just showed up and you got married. You're a public figure we've been following for years. I presented him with information that I said, Aaron, I did the research. Players in this generation who get married in the offseason go on to have an overwhelmingly successful next season across the board. It always happens. How is this affecting you as a football player? And he goes into this deep dive answer about how his life is different and his support system is different, and all because of her, and all because of her. Meanwhile, the rumors online about what this could be are on planet Mars, and he just locks in and says, "I'm playing this season for us." So he's unique, he's unusual, he's still my favorite player to interview, and his vibe was fantastic.
I give you credit that you came at it with a different angle because
Thank you.
that's the tough part. And being a great interviewer, it's about what is my angle that's going to be different because you want them to realize that you did your homework and that you did give this great thought instead of saying, "Hey, you got married, huh?"
I know. Yeah.
He's not going to give you. You got to work. There's certain athletes that you just have to work. They'll make it worth your while, but you got to work. And Aaron's one of those guys that he's not going to listen to foolishness. So I give you a lot of credit with that.
I appreciate the compliment from you, and it's you're exactly right. And I did the same thing last week with Josh Allen. I got to ask him. You can appreciate this, Dan. I got to sit with Josh Allen for about 12 minutes, and I have to somehow ask him, you never can beat the Chiefs. Everyone's talking about it. It's really the only topic we can talk about you with football is you can't get over the hump. What is the original way to do that? And I concocted this thing that was just like, listen, your wife in her industry, they have the Oscar speech, and you think about it and you practice it in the mirror and you do it in the shower. Do you have the Super Bowl speech? Is that something you have? And he went. He said, I had it since I was a kid. I know every word. I know the tone. I know all of that. And I could tell a palpable appreciation that I wasn't just like, how about these Chiefs, huh? I guess they're your Patriots for Manning. And he actually gave a creative answer. So I was very proud.
The pressure on Josh Allen, now you won an MVP. Local pressure, national pressure. Is there any big variation in those two?
Well, the Buffalo pressure is just more just Buffalo terror and fear and just how can we not get one with this guy? I think the national pressure is the same it's been for about 3 years. It's the same identical pressure on Lamar Jackson, where every road leads to that. You're great, you did this. But the difference is that Josh has played much better in the playoffs than Lamar is. So Josh's narrative is they got to get him help nationally. But I have to say, I asked him point blank about you are looked at as this new Peyton Manning. How do you deal with that? Everything you do in the community, in the locker room, you carry a burden with you. And the burden is Josh has to bring home the big one. He said, I don't think about it. I'm like, yo, come on, you think about it. He said, if it doesn't happen, I'll be okay with that because I know I'm doing everything I possibly can. This is a guy who is 29. He's 300 million bucks. He just married a movie star. He references her. I've interviewed Josh Allen 25 times. I have never heard him reference God as much as he did, which I think is a very good thing and shows he's on to new deals. So he flat out said, I'm going all in. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So I don't worry about it. It's his plan.
I find it interesting that you have baseball pitchers who are really good in the regular season
Yeah.
and not good in the postseason. Greg Maddux wasn't great. Clayton Kershaw had his moments, but they're Hall of Fame pitchers. And you have quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson is kind of built for the regular season. Josh Allen, regular season. It's that big game where Mahomes is built for both, but now I think he's more built for the postseason than the regular season. I find that interesting and I don't know if it's, I'm kind of pushing or stretching for something, but it just feels like some quarterbacks live, like Brady. I don't know any of his stats from the regular season. I don't. Like the one season where, he had Randy Moss, but I just knew when he got to the postseason, he's going to win the game. If he's got the ball, 2 minutes to go, he's winning the game. Mahomes has graduated to that level. Yep. Certain guys where you go, oh boy, this is bad, but they are built for that moment. How do you explain that?
I know exactly what you mean. There's certain guys on the flip side that when it's that's 3rd and 12 is coming up, and I know this is not going to go well, and then it's a pick six. And it's not that the guys aren't talented. Like, listen, the Peyton thing, that goes back to college when he couldn't beat the Gators. He just couldn't do it no matter how good he was. You mentioned Clayton Kershaw. I remember when they were calling him Clayton Manning because he would get to October and he would just fall apart. There's certain guys, and listen, you talk about fan complaints and people getting mad. Baltimore Ravens fans are very sensitive about Lamar. I mean, very sensitive, and I get it. He is their guy. I always put it as Lamar is the fantastic regular season player. He doesn't play his A game in the playoffs. He doesn't play the D. He plays the B or B plus. And the best ones hit their A game in the playoffs. And so he has turnovers. He'll do this. He'll do that. And I'm not saying he's bad, but only certain guys, like the ones you referenced, out of nowhere, sometimes can just get to that A game, and certain guys can't.
Good luck with the show and your day job, too, at Good Morning Football. Great to talk to you again.
Dan, it's great to see you anywhere other than the sports Emmys where I usually see you and we never win.
I know. We're both like peeking in, like, okay, who's going to win? It's not us. Okay, drive home safely. Let's
wish I could, you're so dead on. I wish I could tell the fans, Dan is literally in the last row, like throw 5,000. There's no one behind him. I saw Fritzy and me. And as they're reading our award, we basically have our valet ticket in our hands.
Yes,
it's just out of here. It's so funny. We'll do it next year.
My car was running, just to let you know. Yes. Like, I am out of here. Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Kyle Brandt, NFL Network, Good Morning Football, and his new show tonight at 9 Eastern on Vice TV. It's called NFL Classics Upon Further Review with Michael Irvin, who will join us at the top of the hour, and Emmett Smith. We'll take a break, your phone calls, and we will pick the Defensive Player of the Year after this.